Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are. As you can see the sign, we'll show you the sign, Victory Valley. Home of the Victory Valley Royals as a basketball team. As you can see, Mr. Thomas is ahead of me here. Morning, how are you doing, brother? Mr. Thomas is ahead of me, converse with some of the residents of the valley. Because we are moving wherever we have to move. For it to be known that we are against mandatory vaccinations and stripping people of their human rights.
Good, so y'all feel free as soon as we get started. Feel free to get your other folks out. JD's supposed to be coming.
Morning, brothers. Bless up, man. How's it? Good, man. Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we about. Yes, man. Yeah. How is it? How's it, brother? Yeah, man.
There's me turf too, you know. Good.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, I used to walk straight through the valley, man. This is beauty of Linden for you. Brothers, how's it, man? Just a man. Strength, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Resistance is it. Hey, brother. Morning. Resistance is it. So you walking in the valley. As I noticed, some political figures only know these places when it's time for election. But we walk in the valley without any election in the atmosphere, without any election campaign. We're walking because this is bigger than any election campaign. I say it again, this is people's rights being stripped away from them. And we refuse to allow our rights to be stripped from us as a people. Leaders like to talk about communities that are depressed and economically challenged and all the rest of it. And under that same umbrella, where's the representation for these people? I'm not talking about talk representation. I'm speaking to coming underground and coming out in mass to defend the rights of these people. Morning. How can they afford $25,000 every 3 days to do PCR test at PCR? Good morning. How are you doing? So we're walking through the valley. There are people who leave their homes today, trying to go to a government office or facility to get some service rendered in Linden, and the oppressors are in Georgetown, making a decision that is injuring the well-being of our people in Linden. Well, I'm out to stand. Apostle Thomas and others there with me. We're just walking. I will be gathering as we go back. But I just wanted to take a walk through this valley, as it's called, to let people see that we're out here on the street for them. Those who cannot do this, we are going to do it for you. We have an oppressed system, an oppressive system as a matter of fact, in our nation. Can you hear me clearly on Facebook and see clearly? It's good? Just let me know whether you can see and hear clearly. And while you're at it, please be kind enough to share the broadcast with others so they can see. But I'm not waiting. Apostle Thomas is not waiting. My sisters and my daughter are not waiting. We're not waiting for you for 2 weeks to do anything. We are standing from now. Good morning. How are you doing? Good. We are here to say that we refuse to accept being bullied by any government. And we also refuse to accept the inaction of the opposition. Because if you say that you're against mandatory vaccination, then shows that you're against it. Good morning, gentlemen. Let us see that you mean what you say. Don't say that you're against it just for news bites, but you're not doing anything about it. Come out. I'm calling you all out. Come out if you're really against this, and show the people that who you're supposed to be representing, that you're seriously against it. Come out. I ain't gonna hide behind political banners anymore. Come out, let people see that you're seriously against this. Morning, brother. Show us that you're against this. Blessing, man. One love. Bless up. Morning, morning, morning. You're taking a stroll through your tongue, man. Blessing, man. Yeah, let's see that you mean what you're saying. Don't die. I'm up near FC, I'm calling you, PNC, I'm calling you, because Linden is known as a PNC stronghold. I am calling you all out now, because if you say that you're against mandatory vaccination, show your people that you're against it. You're talking, your smoke screen wouldn't work right now. Come out and show us. This government is directly involved in economic genocide. You're destroying the ability of people to earn money. I don't care if you're doing it, claiming it to be done indirectly. Frank Anthony said the people, after the nurses said they can't afford $25,000 every 3 days, Frank Anthony said that they have to face consequences, which will be economic consequences. You are oppressive and you're economic murderers, assassins. That's what you are. Good morning, how are you? Good morning, good morning. You are oppressing a people. For Minister of Health, for President, anybody else to say, there are people who say we can't afford this money to every 3 days pay $25,000 for PCR tests, and you say they have to face consequences. Morning, brother. You are directly involved in destroying a man's livelihood or a woman's livelihood. And I say again, that is economic assassination. That's exactly what you're all involved in. You're making a deliberate effort. Morning. Morning. You all right? Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, thanks. Yeah, man, respect. One is good. And with the government deliberately involved in economically destroying the livelihood of Guyanese, including UPNC, PNC supporters. Y'all are just hiding behind statements like we're not in favor of mandatory vaccination. So what? What are you doing about it? Good morning, sis. How are you doing? Morning, morning. Today, I am out to call y'all out because you're not going to hide anymore. Linden, by election and by electoral history, would have voted consistently for UPNC, for PNC as a matter of fact. Morning, morning, morning. Bless up, brother. Yeah, man. Morning. Just passing through. Morning. Strength, man. Respect, brother. Yeah, man. Thanks, my brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Morning, morning, morning. How y'all doing? Morning. How you doing? As a people, we are being oppressed by a small group of people who believe that they own Guyana and they could do what they want. When you strip a man and a woman's ability to earn a living, what else are you doing to them? Good morning. Hey, good morning. So we've come into the valley, we turn back. And I walk right back up. I actually used to walk through these places years ago. Good morning. How are you doing? Good. Yes. We stand against people forcing people to be vaccinated. And got to pay $25,000 for PCR tests and all kinds of nonsense.
Wow.
Yeah, every 3 days. That's what the government's saying. Every 3 days if you're not vaccinated. Exactly. Every 3 days you got to find $25,000
$25,000
to pay for a test if you got to do business. Because the test only valid for 3 days. And that's why we out. That's why we out, because this is rough. Morning, morning. People who want to go to GRA, if they're not vaccinated, they got to pay $25,000 for PCR tests to show GRA before you could get business done. If people want to collect NIS benefits, old age pensioners, everything, got to go to NIS. He's saying they have to get a vaccine or pay $25,000. Well, we standing against that. Morning, sis.
I agree. Because there are a lot of people don't ever can't find $25,000 in a month.
Exactly, in a whole week or a whole month.
A month.
Much as they got to find every 18 days, $150,000 they are asking people for. That would be right, man. How that could be right? Wrong is wrong, and this is totally wrong.
I agree with the part of that.
People can't get their passport if they don't have a vaccine or if they don't pay this $25,000 to have a test. That is wrong. What if two members in the same household got to do business? So now it's $50,000 got to come to the household if they're two adults to please y'all. Morning, brother. Morning, sis. Morning. You should never oppress the poor. It is wrong. You cannot oppress a poor person. You can't oppress people in general, but more so people who can't afford it. And I would like to prove to y'all that there are many people in this government and in politics in general who can walk into any of these buildings without a vaccine because they know the ministers and members of parliament, they could just walk in and do what they have to get done. I know what I'm telling you all about. You don't have to push any card. You feel pretty trying to show a vaccination card to go into some building? No. Because she's a minister. You feel jagged, you got to show vaccination card, you can walk into any building he wants. Vaccinated or not. Frank Anthony would never have to show a card at the hospital gate because he's a minister of health. So what are you telling me? Nobody's more equal than me in this country.
They don't even stop collection, just can try to get everything.
Thank you. Somebody said it. They don't even stop when they complain, they don't stop anywhere.
This vaccine that they're giving enough people that don't ever, they're testing the people pressure.
Before. Exactly, sis.
Before they give give them the injection. Because every we take the injection and midnight, like he by sleeping and his lucky thing she turn around and see coughing up.
See? Yeah, because people pressure raising and people going through a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And people keep telling them, these doctors saying, no, that's not the truth.
Take it and he's telling me.
Right.
I beg you, don't take it.
No.
Because maybe how he go through.
Right. Everybody may have a different reaction, but it's rough on some people, man.
Look at me. I used to be the thing that the menopause.
No, you can't be prepared right now.
Can't really go for that.
No.
I gotta keep my body burning all the time.
Right.
And if I don't keep my body
Morning,
burning,
morning.
they will take me down.
Yeah, you know it
If they
says.
take me down, it's been real sick with me.
Yeah, you gotta be tested for us. That's what people say in the US and all places. Morning, Mars. Morning, morning. All right, sis. Thank you.
Totally against the party.
Yeah, don't force people, exactly. Right, right.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, morning, brother. You good? Economic oppression. That's what Guyana is dealing with right now. Assassination of a class of people. Totally. Break them into either they submit to you, to this PP government, and APNU who support quiet and supporting this. I call all y'all in the same thing, because you cannot tell me that APNU and AFC and PNC that you're all against this, but you're so quiet. I'm not buying that from you all. Morning, morning. But I'm to our soldiers. They're being crushed before your eyes. Yeah, man. Blessing, brother. Appreciate it. Our people need to breathe, man. All right, brothers. All right, all right. All right. Our people need to breathe. They need to breathe. They can't do this. You're hurting people. Morning, morning. You can't be forcing people to be vaccinated and then force them to find how much money every month, every 3 days to appease your nonsense. I'm in the valley, and I'm calling on all of you PNC leaders in Linden. Come out. Bring your supporters out and show that you truly are against what's happening to these people. Our people should never have to go through this. Never. Morning. How are you doing? Oppression. And preachers are quiet. Morning. That's it right there. We have to resist this. Morning, morning. Do you know many people, Rastafarians, live in this valley, and their religion does not permit them to be vaccinated? The Constitution protects the right of an individual to practice their religion unhindered and without discrimination. What are y'all doing now, PPP Civic? You're oppressing Rastafarians too then. You just want to wipe the slate clean. Well, we will walk, and we have walked. Yeah, we're right here, right here. Right in front here. My Guyanese brothers and sisters. Morning, Matt. If you sit and let a government crush you like this, and then you sit and let your party leaders be quiet about it, if you're from APNU or whatever side you're from, this has far-reaching implications that you're going to regret. Your children inherit. Morning, morning, brother. Children shall inherit the penalty you pay for being quiet. can't raise a weak society of fearful, scaredy people. Yeah, man. I'll be back. Alright, we're back. We're going to stand in front here and do just what we do. So my friend Mr. Thomas is here with me, and he, friend and brother, he will raise his thunderous voice in the valley and speak as well. Because I'm asking you Guyanese to wake up, I keep saying it. Become independent thinkers and see what is happening before you. This government is involved in economic assassination and genocide. They are wiping out people economically. And you should never be an active participant in this. APNU, AFC, PNC, whatever you all are and call yourselves, you can see what this government is doing to people who support you. We cannot see, as independent thinkers, what you're doing to support or to stand in defense of your supporters. Stand up for your people. Ever. Yeah. It is known that the public service and the public sector typically votes for APNU AFC or for PNC. It is established, that's known. That's a known demographic. That's a fact. What are you doing about it? Sitting quietly by while your people are crushed before your eyes? For years it was known that the police force and the Guyana Defense Force, the military, they vote for PNC. That's a well-established fact. That's why they change and say, okay, then you're going to mix the soldiers' votes and the armed services, disciplining services, you mix their votes up among, spread across the country so nobody knows who vote for whom. Because back in the day, it used to be known that they voted overwhelmingly. Now, what have you done? I am calling you out today to say, come out and stand in defense of people who supported you. It is only fair. It is only fair. So there's Mr. Thomas. I'll have him mic'd up today so that he can speak to you while we're live.
Good morning to everyone. Just let me put my mask on, my face shield. I love this shield. We're here to let everyone know we are not anti-vaccine. We've been saying that from the get-go. We are not anti-vaccine. We are anti-bullyism. Human rights are being infringed on by the powers that be. When you look to see what they're saying to us, they're saying to people, if you don't take the jab, and I will maintain it's a jab, it's not a vaccine, because a vaccine is supposed to cure. This does not cure. Slower now. Every day there's a new narrative coming out. All we're saying, it's a worldwide experiment. And as human beings, we should not be bullied into being a part of their experiment. In the same choir, they're saying the same thing. Silence simply means that you are in agreement. That's what silence means for me. Silence means that you are in agreement. And when big ones from the opposition can leave Guyana, that is in turmoil, to go to North America for a protest, which I know the North American Guyanese could handle on their own. They didn't need you to make up their crowd. Right. But you went up there to make a whole lot of noise, and your country is in turmoil. Moreover, over 170,000 persons voted for you, the opposition. And you walked away from those people as if to say, well, no big deal. As I said before, the jab is an experiment they are running on humanity. Now, here what makes it more interesting. Just suppose I decide to take that jab, and I end up becoming ill and become incapacitated. There is nothing in terms of insurance to cover me. There is no insurance policy for COVID-19. None whatsoever. My children, should I die, my family would not receive anything from the government of Guyana. No one is taking responsibility. Now, I was raised in a system where I had to take responsibility. From a child, I had to be responsible for a certain amount of things. And then as I grew older, I had to be responsible at one time for an entire school. And there were certain decisions that I had to make because of me being the person who had to shoulder the responsibility. Some of the decisions were difficult decisions to make, but because I was the person in the chair, I had to be responsible for X, Y, and Z things. Yes. Now I'm saying here, you've got a government and a minister of health where I wonder whether he is indeed a certified minister of health or a fake minister of health. I need the minister to tell me which one of the universities he went to, because I know the president went to University of Eifflet. So I want to know whether you attended that same university. How can you as a medical doctor come up with these erroneous pieces of narrative? How can you do that? Is it that your ability to speak the truth is so remote that it is a norm for you to just get up there and propagate lies? Not error now, lies. Then you have the other little one behind you like a weasel, Ramsamy. Well, he's been lying from the time I got to know him via Facebook and via television. How is it you are so irresponsible when dealing with your citizens? How are you so irresponsible? Now, there is another group that has been targeted. The group called the teachers and the students. Last Monday, I read a letter to you while I was at Mackenzie Riverside. A letter written, signed by the Chief Education Officer, Mr. Marcel Hudson. He prefers that you call him Dr. Marcel Hudson. But I call him Mr. Marcel Hudson because that's who he is. He's a Mr. He's a man, so I call all men Misters. If you got a problem with me calling you Mr. but you want to hear Doctor, well, you on your own, Jack. I'll call you Mr. Hudson. But the letter is asking or saying or bullying parents to give them the okay. The parents must give the ministry the okay so that the children between ages 12 and 18 can receive the jab. Now 12 to 18 simply means first formers, second formers, fourth formers, fifth formers, sixth formers. So it's the entire school. However, with the same token, should any side effects show up, I know for sure there's one that's affecting a lot of young people in North America, inflammation surrounding the heart, which, if not treated properly, can lead to death. Now, should that happen to our students, the Ministry of Education will not be responsible. The ones that will be blamed would be the parents. Before I came out here this morning, I noted something where a parent out in Trinidad, she was on live giving her little, as in Guyana we say, 2 cents on that issue. And she said that as a parent, she's not comfortable with that decision. And all because she voiced her opinion on a panel, they shut her down. So she had to go live on her own Facebook page to explain to people why she's not comfortable. The whole thing is, why isn't government prepared to be responsible for whatever side effects show up? Yeah. Why is it you are bullying people and at the same time you are not taking the responsibility? Yesterday I met a farmer from Long Creek and he was next to tears. He said to me, "Sir, I turned up to get some things because apparently the government people were in Long Creek giving out farmers some fertilizers and some tools, and because he did not take the jab, they refused to give him his little bit of fertilizer and a few other things." Wow. He said he did not receive money for his children either because he did not take the jab. And when I look at the guy, I felt my heart broke for him. Because here is a man who is in need. He's a farmer by profession. That's his livelihood. You're saying to somebody who is producing food, that's what he's producing, food, to feed people along the highway. You're saying to him, because you did not take the job, you cannot get the things that could help you to produce food. When a government becomes so sinister, it means that they have set themselves up for destruction. Once you're taking bread out of the mouth of the poor, you are setting yourself up for a major disaster. And how things are going, I believe I'm going to be around because I am traveling out of Guyana. I'm staying here. I'm going to say like the mighty Gabby, my neighbor Stringberry, hey. Gabby says neighbor Stringberry in Barbados on the beach. My neighbor Stringberry right here at Wismar. Mine too. And let me tell you something. What I'm saying that's real. Because I born at Wismar Third Alley, and back then you were born home. The midwife cut that neighbor string and your parents used to bury it right in the yard. Right there they used to bury it. So my neighbor Stringberry right here. So I ain't got to go no place. But at the end of the day, the government in power is using every means possible to intimidate, bully, and just hold people to ransom, and that is wrong. And I know some of you will be saying because I'm dark, I might be Apnu, but I'm not Apnu either. Because of dark and I'm from Linden, you can say I'm from Apnu, but I'm not from Apnu. I'm a person who is an independent thinker. Right. And as I said it, if Mr. Ali goes on live television and says to the Republic, this job is no longer mandatory, well, he's going to say mandatory. I would go on Facebook and tell him, thank you. Right. Because when you are an independent thinker, you address issues. You don't address their personality. They're not that important, by the way. The last time I checked, all of them got 46 chromosomes. So they're human beings. But the reality is, we cannot afford to have this happening in our state. Those who've taken the jab, I don't have a problem with you. You're not my problem. You took the jab. Especially if you took it off of your own free will, where you decided you were satisfied that it's good enough for you, and you went and you took it. But I'm saying, if I don't take it, you shouldn't have a problem with me either.
No.
It's just a freedom. It's a freedom. You take it, I don't take it, leave me alone. You cannot discriminate against people based on whether they are jabbed or not jabbed. And as I said Monday, I used to watch boxing a lot, and I see Larry Holmes used to knock people out using his jab. So when I think about this jab, I think boxing still. That's how I think. It's crazy. The next thing I need you to understand, and we've been saying this to you, we thought originally, based on what Fauci was saying, that's the Honorable Dr. Fauci, who for me, he resembles a little gremlin. He said that the best thing to happen is the vaccine. Now the same Dr. Fauci is saying vaccinated people are still contracting the virus. Honestly, I feel so saddened about that, because all my years teaching the children a little into science and the biology, I would show them where the vaccinations normally help in the healing and the curing of things.
Right.
Help your body to push up antibodies and all that kind of thing. Now, here is a jab that has caused variants to be produced. I need you to show me data which says unvaccinated people started this whole variant strain.
Right.
No unvaccinated person started the variant strain. It's those who were vaccinated that resulted in variants being produced. And the truth about virus is simple. As you pressure them and you try to control them, they begin to mutate much faster. If we do not look sharp, we could end up with what is called a super variant. And once you have a super variant, we ain't got nothing that could control the super variant. We don't have anything to control the super variant. The super variant is like the supernatural. Can't control that one. People of Linden, Guyanese, people of the world, I need you to understand this. We are not anti-vaccination. We are anti-bullyism, and we are anti-being in a worldwide lab as guinea pigs, hamsters, and lab rats. That's all we're saying. Based on human rights, of which the Republic of Guyana signed on to it with the United Nations, I have a right. We have a right to choose. We have a right to choose. Our body is our right. I know someone earning $80,000 a month recently built a flat house, mortgage payment $35,000, 4 children. You might be thinking, if I don't take this job and I lose my job, how am I going to pay this mortgage of $35,000? I know that's where everything is heading. It's about life and death issues. You're thinking security. How do I live without my salary? You are not the only person. I'm saying if all of this republic, or 80% of this republic, decides whether you receive the job or not, to say to government what you're doing is wrong, and just decide we are not taking part in your stuff any longer, because you locked my friend out of the job site, I stand in solidarity with my friend, I'm going to walk off the job site and stand on the other side of the gate.
Thank you.
All the bus drivers and the taxi drivers, because you have victimized one, the rest of us, we're going to stand down. We're not going to be a part of anything. I want to see what you politicians will be able to do. What are you going to do? Bring out the army? You going to bring out the police? Huh? I don't want this to happen. But should it happen, where policemen recognize that they too have been abused by the system and they decide to do like what happened in Romania years ago with the Ceausescus, yes, where they decide to dung arms and say, we are not going to be a part of this kind of victimization, this kind of bullyism, this madness, I call it madness, this gross respect for person's person, a lack of mercy, no mercy whatsoever. It's like if you are the big titan and the rest of us are the little wogs. Yeah, the little wogs. That's an old word they used back in Britain, the wogs. So we're the little people and you're going to come and crush. But let me tell you something. I could never walk away from this truth. For every monster called Goliath, there's always a one little David. And all he needs is a sling. He ain't got to use all 5 stones. You only need to use one. I need you to understand that. For every Haman out in Persia trying to kill off the Hebrew people, there's always an Esther and a Mordecai to stand up for them. Right. I need you to understand that. For every empire that thinks it can just be ruthless against people, there's always a Daniel to stand up. Yeah. For every Nebuchadnezzar who believes that he can throw people in the fire if they don't bow, there's always a 3 Hebrew boys that will always show up. So let me show you this. People who might be wondering, oh, London and Thomas only making noise, nobody and following them, they don't have a crowd. We don't need a crowd. We are already a crowd. Right. 1 shall chase 1,000 and 2 can put 10,000 to flight. We don't need a crowd. If God be for us, it doesn't matter who's against us. Sound like wrestling now. It doesn't matter. How does the rock? Forgive me. It's in me. I need us to understand that. It took a 1 Daniel to stand. It took a 1 Esther and a 1 Mordecai to stand. It took 3 Hebrew boys to stand. You see how much? It's 1, 2, 3. That's all we're doing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It took 1 Yeshua to stand. It took 1 Apostle Shaul to stand. Right. It's never the masses. It's just a 1 that will stand in the gap, and the others will be educated and empowered. And when they are empowered, they take the movement to the next level. You people who are bullying and harassing people, I warn you to be careful, because we, the people out here, we are the ones who come in peace. We come in peace. You won't see us blocking up your place. We come in peace. But let me tell you something. There is another group coming that will not be as tolerant as us in terms of maintaining order while protesting. There is another group coming that will not be as conservative in terms of activity. In terms of activity. You better be careful. You have done enough to hurt people. And this is not about whether you are dark skinned like me or light skinned like another person. This has nothing to do about whether you are of African descent or Indian descent. And Guyanese got to understand this. Once you're born in Guyana, you're Guyanese. And if you come from another country and you apply for citizenship, you become Guyanese. I don't know all my life living in this country because I've never lived abroad. I love Guyana. Never lived abroad, but all my life, I know that I am Guyanese. All my life. It's after 1992 that I was informed that I'm Afro-Guyanese.
Right. Yes.
All of my life, I knew I was Guyanese.
That's the truth.
And in social studies class at St. Helens Anglican School, they had us read a book named Children's Story of Guyana, and we were informed as to how our foreparents got here. That's all we were taught for social studies back then in terms of the Guyana narrative. So I saw the people with the straight hair as my Guyanese brothers and Guyanese sisters. I even sat next to some of them at high school. We played together. Never understood racism. Never. Because I was never taught it. Now in the Republic of Guyana, you are hearing this children who is Indian and who is black. When at the end of the day, according to the world system, you're either black or white. Don't you Indian people who think that you're Indian know that when you go to North America, you are a part of the Black Lives Matter? Yeah, that's who you are. Because you are melanated. The only difference between me and you is that I stay in the oven longer. That's all. And my hair come out kinky. But we are all one, as I said. I'm going to continue to say it. We fall into one of four blood groups, A, B, or O. So if I need blood, I'm A positive. And you're A positive, be you white or Indian or Hispanic, you can give me a half pint of blood to keep me going. It also means that my kidney can work in your body. It means that my liver can work in your body. Internally, we are the same.
Right.
The only difference is that I was born having the ability to produce a whole lot of melanin, and even if I bleach it off, the system is within to continue producing melanin. That's the only thing that's different. That's the only difference we have. So in the Republic of Guyana, we've got to understand that this now is a Guyanese issue, where our government is trampling on our rights. They have no longer infringed.
No.
Infringe is when you barely take up some land on somebody's property, you barely creep over. They have broken the fence down. They have pulled out the picket boundaries. And they have walked in about to overrun the house. But you got a small group of people who are bold enough to say enough is enough. Yeah. We draw a line in the sand and we're saying to you, if you continue with your madness, you will be dealt with seriously.
Yeah.
You can't afford to be doing that to people. We have a right to choose what goes into our bodies, and is that we will continue to stand for. And you cannot be intimidating people dangling a few dollars over their heads.
Right.
You can't be doing that. Moreover, we pay you to look after our interests. That's what we've been doing. That is why you are called a public servant.
Right.
A servant is supposed to serve. No servant is greater than his master. You all need to understand that you all are public servants.
Yep.
Every minister, every mayor, every regional chairman, you are public servants. President, you are the chief public servant. And as a chief public servant, you have to set the example for your other servants to follow. Have you recognized, Mr. President, when you got on national television and on Facebook and talk about those who didn't take the vaccine, it's worse than the virus. You recognize that by the next day, the discrimination stepped up 100-fold?
Yeah.
Where the vaccinated really thought that they were now riding high on a feeling. Huh? They believe as though they were on Aladdin's magic carpet. Huh? That's what they believe. They started becoming very, very pompous. Shortly after, they start locking out people.
Right.
All of that madness started happening because you, the chief public servant, said those words. That's how authority operates. That is why when you are in authority, I'm giving you some wise counsel, Mr. President, you don't have to pay me for that. You guys can't pay me, by the way. I don't want your blood money. You guys can't pay me. I need you to understand, as a public servant, you've got to be careful what you say. You've got to be responsible in terms of your speech. There are things when I was a high school teacher I wanted to say, but I did not say because of the repercussions it would have caused on my teachers and students. So I kept it quietly on the inside, and I decided to go softer with them. Because words are powerful tools. I always remember when I was in Form 1, the definition that was given to me for music. It says music is the language and science of sound.
Right.
So you have lyrics, which is a language, and you have the notes. And when you put them together, those things can cause a revolution. So when you got up and you said what you had to say, you were actually giving people artillery to discriminate and the okay to discriminate. You've got to be careful, Prezi. And I don't care how you got in the seat. The mere fact you occupy the office of the president, I must respect the office of the president.
Right.
And I will not walk around saying you're not my president. I am Guyanese, you're the president of the Republic of Guyana, I must say the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, because that's its name. So because you're the president and I'm a Guyanese, I gotta say you are Guyana's president. And right now, I don't like what you're doing, Mr. Ali, Mr. Irfan, Muhammad Irfan Ali, Dr. President, former St. Stanislaus student, not law, Stanislaus, not law. I need to understand that you cannot be so rash and irresponsible with your language. Now, I'm going to address something else that speaks to how far bullyism goes. I woke up a couple days ago and I saw something flashing on my little gadget. A lady being dragged through the mud, all because she came out as a free citizen in this republic to protest bullyism.
Right.
She came out, and you had ministers of the government saying that they give her land. Hello, ministers. I think Priya was one of them.
Yes, Charles Ransom.
And Charles Ransom, Minister Priya Manikchan, former QC student.
Really?
Yeah, she's a former QC girl. I'm sure the QC she went to. I'm almost sure the QC Priya went to. Miss Manichan, the man who talked to you talked to here already. At multi-school, you sat in my office. In the $10,000 voucher day. Around the same period. And I spoke with you. And you listened when I said there are certain bills that cannot be passed in this country. I pleaded with you. That's before 2015 elections. You were in my office and I said to you, ma'am, we cannot afford to pass things for gay rights because I don't want him in the classroom showing up.
Right.
Respect.
I said that to you and you listened to me. I even went on to say, my gravest concern is not for the over 30 people, because one famous homosexual in Linden said, once you're over 30, you're off the calendar. Because basically the months of the year, most of them got 30 days. So once you're over 30, you're off the calendar. They're looking for the middle of the month. And I show you middle of the month means from the 14th to the 21st, which will be all the third formers straight up to university students. And you listened. You listened. And you appeared as though you had a heart that had at least a tenth of compassion. But when you stood up there to say that madness about a citizen of this republic who has a right to property, that is human right, a right to property. And because the lady is now standing up on the side to say, I am against bullyism, you had to bring out that as though that is something good to say. That is the lowest thing you could have ever done, dear heart. I'm so embarrassed now to know that you spoke with me years ago. We had an intelligent, civil, good conversation. I didn't beg you for no money because I don't roll like that. This brother don't roll like that. Me don't beg people for money. Anytime I beg you for stuff was for people to share and get help. Not for me own self. Whatever I need, I know how to go get it. Simple. Make something and go sell it at the road corner. And whoever want to call me road corner teacher, so be it. The last time I checked Guyanese, I suppose I got some currency in my pocket. Guyanese. Let me see, I suppose I got something here. Or like JB get it already. Oh, I ain't getting nothing yet. All right. The last time I read this currency, it says, these notes are legal tender for the payment of any amount. So if I selling stuff, it's legal tender. They ain't got no money name, gutter money, graveyard money, church money, petition money, oil money, all legal tender for the payment of any amount. Is who 50?
You money.
Well, listen, let me pay the boat, right? Thank you. I need us to understand that. How can we be so wicked to make that an issue? Let me tell you something. Every Guyanese should be entitled to a house lot. I go so far to say, I can make it simple for you all. You all know when they were born because you got information at GPO. And you're tracking them every year to see who gets up to 18 or 21. You publish their name and tell them which office to go to fill up the form and get a house lot within 1 month. Simple as that. That's how I think. I don't like people getting to wait on me, crowd up waiting on me. That doesn't make me important. That tells me that I'm inefficient. If you got to be waiting on me for years to get a house lot, it means I am inefficient. The system should be so set. As soon as somebody gets up to age 18, you start saying, okay, this one is 18 in Guyana, 18 is adulthood. All right, these are from region number 10 Linden. We're going to publish their names, put it out there so they can go to various offices, fill out their form, and within a month's time, they get a house lot. But you know what? Because they're wicked, they prefer persons go and break the law by squatting. Is it kind of wicked? And people don't know their rights. Because they're wicked bad, major bad wicked. They're going to make sure that they get people now to fight over land. When in a republic like Guyana, nobody should fight for land. 83,000 square miles. Here, when you fly over this country at nights, you see some little pepper lights. That's all you see, some pepper lights in District 4, Georgetown. Some pepper lights along the coast, and if you fly over Linden, you're going to see some more pepper lights. The rest, dark as coal. Daytime when you're flying over, you see some small houses here and there, a few houses here and there, and the rest from the air, it looks like broccoli. Green as ever. Even though we got men doing mining, be it legally or illegally, this place is basically forest. I'm from Wismar End. When you walk past Bucktown and go up those hills, way at the back of Bucktown, and you hit that plateau area, it's bush going into flatland bush that can lead you to Bartica. Dalawala, yeah, somebody just called it. Who called it there? You looking for pay, but you really looking for pay. That's my big cousin, okay? That's my big cousin. He's in my family. That's my big cousin behind there. Yes. I need us to understand this, people. We don't need to have all of that squabbling over land. But the people want us to squabble so they can take more from us and at the same time bully us. Because here, we're so busy trying to make $1 out of 50 cents. We're so busy trying to do this, that they don't want to get. You see, it's during the busy season with COVID-19 and the fake thing, this jab, that they pass the bill for the men to cross-dress.
Yes.
In the, right term, in the heat of the battle. They're running there and they pass it. And I want you parents now to wake up.
Exactly.
I want you parents to wake up. Because it's highly possible now in the Republic of Guyana that your child can show up to school and a big strapping male can be dressed with a pleated skirt, a ruffled front blouse, a scarf, a blonde wig, some teardrop earrings, some eyelash will look like a fan, and a fudge heel, sling back shoes with a Gucci purse and laden with makeup, speaking in bass, teaching in treble. Speaking in bass but teaching in treble, come as a male by birth but in the class named Tinkerbell. I want to see what y'all going to do with that. I want to see what y'all going to do with the parents. I know what y'all going to want to do. Y'all going to want to say, oh God, send for London, send for Tamo. They're going, no. We already warned you all. We warned you all since 2016. We come out warning you all about the evil that will visit the nation. I know what you all said to us. We botheration, we are troublemakers. Not for you pastors in Linden had a lot to say. That's why y'all can't come out here and talk now. But I ain't vexed with y'all. I'm going to say like the Messiah, Yeshua, forgive them for they know not what they do. But when the fire start falling, it can be raindrops for me, but it can be fire for y'all. We cannot afford to allow these things to happen to us people. When are we going to wake up? When? I looked at something just recently when I came at my cousin's place. That was yesterday morning. I saw one of the most fearsome armies at work. Fearsome, ferocious army at work. Accouchants. One accouchant is not a problem. One is not a problem. But it's when they form into an army. I can crush one of them. But when they become an army, they can destroy an entire garden in one night. I'm saying to you, you might be one, so you think you're weak. But when you band together as an army, when you band together as an army, you become strong. And all we're saying to Guyanese is stand up, stand out, and speak up for your rights. Nothing else. That's all we ask you to do. Stand up, stand out, speak up for your rights. That's all. You don't got to say, well, it's only me alone. It's never you alone. There are others waiting for you to just sound your voice and they will come. How you think those answers operate?
Ceremony.
How you think they operate? Accouchants don't just come out like that, you know. They have the scouts who come out first and check the area. They ain't coming to cut nothing. They just come out to check. And when they check the area, they go back in to the kingdom to tell those in the kingdom downstairs, hey, we got food. We have food 150 meters away. Go south. Them guys know direction too, you know. How would they know to go south? Because the scout that went out leaves his pheromone on the track. That's a chemical substance that they leave. So the others will follow that pheromone to where the food is. And because they're insects that cannot handle this kind of sunshine, they prefer to walk in the cool of the day. So they come out just after 6 o'clock. You have the cutters and you have the druggers. Right. All of them don't cut. All of them don't drug. Some of them just climb up. And while they're out there, they're cutting. And as they cut and fall, the druggers pick up and they say, here we go. Hoochoo, 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 hoochoo. The sound of the men working on the train. Good. And they go back to their nest. Hundreds multiply hundreds of them. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning at 5:30, all your sorrel leaves gone. All your burro leaves gone. And when you go looking for the nest, you can't find a nest. Because they're gone on the ground. And sometimes where you think is their entrance, it's not the entrance. It's just a hole they drill, but they ain't living there. They're living way out, sometimes another mile from you. Wow. That is what makes them such a powerful force to reckon with. They are weak as singles. But when they come together, they are an army. Powerful. I had to deal with them. For years I fought against them. And when I really thought back then that I had conquered them, they come back from a different location. But I know it's the same ants because it's multiply. Basically, when they multiply, they're like clones. All the workers got the same DNA. That's how they're born. That's how they're made. One queen, a couple of drones, and the rest are workers. And the workers, they provide for the hive or for the nest. Bees got the same principle. They provide for the nest. And they take care. They are the warriors, the soldiers, everything. What if you people from Victory Valley, I don't call it Valley of Tears anymore. I stopped with it years now. This is no Valley of Tears because you have enough water flowing out like tears. This is Victory Valley. What if the people of Victory Valley, the word victory means you triumph, you win. What if the people of Victory Valley decide that we're going to come together and stand up for our right? You can become a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. By just standing up and say, we are not a part of this bullyism. Government, you have to respect us. And here, I know, basically, that's what I know because I'm from Wismar. I know Wismar Linden has always been a PNC strongest hold. There ain't got nobody who could beat me under. I know this since I go to primary school. This is not about PNCR, APNU, AFC and all these people. This is about your human right being trampled on. Yeah. And your politicians for Region 10 who's supposed to be standing up and say to people in power, what you're doing is wrong, they ain't saying nothing right now. As a matter of fact, they're being put on a plane to go to Black Lives Matter USA. Now, I can say this boldly. As a person, I know of days when I should have been out certain places to make some real dough. And because things on the home front were not as they should be, I give up that to stay home to make sure everything at home work out right so that everybody in the home circle can benefit. And when I say home circle, I don't mean 2093 Amelia's Ward. I mean work site. You stay, you give up your pleasure for the greater good of others. Right. Now you got leaders who y'all vote for. Jump on a plane to go out to make up numbers in a parade. That was a parade because they had music and that kind of thing. Yeah. I sure is the parade I saw with the man singing Chutney, Veronica, why you leave and go. Yeah. I sure is the parade. People, come together and fight. Yeah. We're standing with you. We know what you're going through. I've been there, done that. I know what it is to wake up in the morning and you don't have enough to go around between you and your brothers and your sisters. I know about them days. But I also know that it's better to stand up. It's better to stand up. My father used to say to me in particular, I remember him saying that, if you get into a fight, throw punches until you're out. I remember that. I was a little bitty boy then. Now I remember one time as a little boy I got into a fight. I know what spared me? I go and tell me father I get in the fight and I get beat up. And me father asked me, did you throw any punches? And I said, yeah daddy, but the boy bigger than me. God, he said, well you don't lose. At least you throw punches. You don't run away after the first punch, you hit the deck like a knockout. No, you stand up. It's better to stand up and fight and be knocked out. Take the mandatory count and get her back. Who knows, by the time you get her back, people might run to your aid and the next thing you know, you got a big tag team championship. You don't just roll over and die like that. Are we that weak? Are we that weak? That because they dangle $19,000 of your money in front of you, you go on and fall down and say, oh, lovely, thank you, jab me now. What madness is that? We're standing with you. We're standing for you. And we're standing by you. At the end of the day, your body is your right. You have a right to say who come to your body and jab you. Yeah. Why do you think women call certain bits of sexual activity rape? Why? Don't you know why? Because they did not give the man the okay to their body, so they scream for rape, even though some don't always be accurate. Yeah. Right? We all know that, but when someone cries out for rape, it's because somebody has come into their space. They are now uncomfortable and they are going to resist by shouting rape, which means send help now. I'm in a place where I don't want to be. Now it's the same thing happening. There's a good time for y'all cry for rape. Yes. Because people have infringed, well not infringed now, they bully their way into you. They don't kick down your back door. Y'all supposed to know them song, man. They come with a grenade. I know them too. This Calypso. They don't kick down the back door. The whole blind flying now. And they're about to invade the house to take you over and change you from a human being, someone of dignity. Someone of dignity. They want to soil you up by taking your rights away from you. Your body is still your choice. And that's all we're saying. Who want to take the job, that's up to you. But we who don't want to take the job, you can't get vexed with us. And as I said earlier, those who have received their job, they're showing out with all the variants. That's where the variants all started. Some of them, they would not publish it because it will affect them. Right. But they know that they've had lots of deaths of persons who took the job. And they're claiming it's underlying effect. All the time the underlying effect, they lie down underlying. All the time the underlying effect, they lie down sleeping, enjoying its sleep. And you go and push something in the person's vein, and the underlying thing just wake up and say, all right, as you wake me up, I'm going to do what I got to do. So you're blaming the underlying effect. Just suppose the job was not taken, that person might have lived a longer life. Right. Simple as that. But you don't want to publish that side of the narrative because it makes your research look ugly.
Which research? Them do no research?
No, it's now they're doing the research.
Them do no research?
It's now they're doing it. Yeah, now they're doing it. This is the experimental part. The experimental phase? Is the experiment going on. So when they're done with the experiment, we can put together all. And let me tell you something. Apostle Nigel said it last night, and I was laughing. I was laughing my head off. Because that same padded voters list has returned to haunt the politicians. Yeah. I love numbers. I love numbers. And when I saw a list with over 500,000 people, yeah, that was it. 600,000 people. I started working it in my brain. I said to a friend of mine, it means if you got 600,000 persons on the voters list, it means that 2/3 of Guyana, or 75% of Guyana, that was the figure I ended up with, 75% of Guyana is already adult. It means that we are heading into becoming an older population. It means that our death rate should increase according to the curve. It therefore means that between ages 17 to 0, we have not been producing children at the rate that should be produced. But I know that was inaccurate. I know that's inaccurate. You're going to tell me that in a country of 750,000, about or 800,000 people, you only have 250,000 people below the age of 18? Huh? When at that time, one school in Linden had close to 1,000 students? Huh? And that was a high school. That's a high school. What about primary, nursery, daycare? And those who are now going daycare. So straight away that was wrong. So the reality is, which list you're using to say that you're done jab up is 60%?
61%.
61% already jabbed up. So where is it? 6 to 1 upon 100 multiplied by 600,000? Teacher? But when I do the maths, it's still not working out right. Because you have not published as yet, and it's not looking to see you publish, but you haven't published it yet. You're playing marbles. You're chinking now. You're chinking at middle hole. But I want you to come straight and full. Come straight. I want you chinking, come straight and full. We're going to play it by all the rules governing marbles. I want you to come straight and full. You come straight. Come straight. Come straight. You're telling me now how many persons you tested. How many persons showed up positive? How many persons in isolation? You're showing me how many persons might have died. I want you to bring it down to the percentage, how many persons have recovered. Right. Because once they recovered, it means they're showing immunity. They got the antibody in their system. And let me tell you people, anyone who builds up immunity naturally by that active means, those antibodies last a long time. Yeah. Just recently, they were checking for the original SARS. 17 years after SARS, and they found persons with 17 years of antibodies in their system still. Yeah. Potent as ever. Meaning if SARS only jump in their body, gone. Neutralize it instantly. I want you to show me what figure you use to come with your 6 to 1%. You can't show me that. Because half y'all must didn't even pass basic maths. Yeah. I passed the maths. I could talk big about that. I passed the maths. I need us to understand whichever aisle you're on in terms of your political persuasion. This has nothing to do with your political persuasion anymore. This has to do with Guyana being taken over by a small group of, I call them new age fat cats. They want to control everything, hook, line and sinker. But it ain't gonna happen. Because we expect Guyanese to wake up and say no. Whether you got the jab or you did not get a jab, you stand in solidarity with your brothers and sisters who are being bullied by the powers that be. I close with this. The best way to win a fight is by standing. That's good. That's how you win a fight, by standing. All of the boxing I have seen in my life, and I was a Mike Tyson favorite in the 90s. I love seeing Mikey Tyson. Everybody that he floored back then, he floored them from a standing position. He knocked them out. And when his time came to be knocked out, Buster Douglas knocked him out from a standing position.
Yeah.
You don't ever win stooping down, kneeling down, rolling over and lying down. You win by standing up. You stand. And when you stand, you become a target. You withstand their onslaught, and then you remain standing. Are you going to just buckle under pressure, thinking it's your alone? No, we in this thing together, people. It's a together movement now. We are the movement. It's not a structure that you're moving with. It's a people now in motion.
Yeah.
And all we're saying is enough is enough. And by now you should recognize, politicians, big ones, whoever, that we're here to stay. We're like the ant. We ain't going nowhere. You might think you've poured your monocrotophos on us, but we got immunity for that one too. Because our means to reproduce is much faster than your means to kill us out. We're just like the ant. Once we got an ant queen still alive, we have ant in that kingdom. Once you got a queen bee that's still alive, we got bees in that kingdom. And once our Yahweh is alive, and he ain't dying no way, no time.
No.
I know that in Rastafarian territory. And I'm going to say, once Jah is alive. Hey, where them Rastas there? Y'all in there, man. Them dreadlocks Rastas. Where y'all there? Yahweh, good. I'm glad we're up on the same page. We singing alto, soprano, everything from the same hymn sheet. Once Yahweh is on our side, we ain't going to be afraid of the pestilence that walketh by night. We ain't here to give up and give in. We're here to stand resolute and resolve in this position where it says, my body, my body, my body, my body. Long live this movement. Long live this movement. We are not just a people making noise. We got spirit in us. And that spirit is what gave us life. My body, my body, my body,
My choice. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, Pastor Thomas. Good morning, brothers and sisters. We're all in this fight together. This is not a struggle, this is a fight. And everybody hearing my voice in Linden. That's why I chose to say in Linden today to address Linden. I want us to recognize that people are trying to go to get business done in different parts of this town. And in our town, there are people living in our town, managing different places around government buildings, who are becoming a part of the problem. Because I'm saying to us, anybody working in Linden at a government building knows what Linden's suffering. And I can't see that our own people in our own town cannot see that Linden from the beginning has been targeted. There was no other big hospital in Guyana that was locked down. Linden got it first. I'm calling on every person who manages any government building. Government means your building too. You should not be a participant in what oppresses your people. If you can't walk out to the office, do something to let them in or meet them at the gate. But I'm here to address this morning history that even our people, African people, are afraid to remember. In the system of slavery, there are two sets of slaves that normally function. I won't talk about the third set. I want to talk about two sets. The field slave and a house slave. And the field slave are those who work the hardest, suffer the most blows in the field. But history has proven that the house slaves were the ones who used to live in master's house and got to take care of master children and got to entertain master And when master eat enough food and they want any more food, master give you the left. House slaves used to have clothes that were better than free slave, but that was clothes master didn't want.
All right.
But I want you to understand, you who are part of this system right here. House slaves were always the slaves who had to be broken and beaten before they could serve in the house. Master had to be sure that you were too weak to fight him back. And that's what we got managing places in this town. A number of people who are afraid to fight back because money means more to you than your own people. The masters knew that house slaves would never revolt. I am not standing to represent house slaves. I'm standing to represent people who understand that we are not slaves. Yes. And nobody in this country can own me as a man. Linden is a community that has been targeted for oppression. That is a fact. How do you know that? Well, look around at this town and see what we have. What development has come here that empowers us financially? There was a flood. And rain damaged many people's crops in Berbice and other places. But farmers suffer in Linden too. And what do you find happening? This same government is pushing a whole lot of money in certain parts of Guyana, and Linden is not benefiting from the same. The day has to come to us as a people when we understand that the war is different now. The fight is not about who black and who Indian. The fight is about how much are you worth. If you are seen as somebody who is not wealthy, you are seen as a candidate to be crushed by oppressors who say they're from APNU and they're from PVP, but there's the same set of people. I know my brother's quiet. I name man, I don't talk frightened. But you can't tell me, because I follow you off at least 2 weeks, that you are leading in the opposition and you say with your mouth that you're not in favor of Guyanese being oppressed and forced to take vaccine, but I'm yet to see you on the road and in my town defending our people. If you're going to be a man, stand up for your people. Or be a man and say, well, hey, what happened, man? I support the vaccine thing, so y'all got to fight on your own. But don't give me no chinky soft talk. Don't be on TV and on camera just issuing a slight statement, say, well, we are not in favor of mandatory vaccination. So what? What are you doing about it? Lindeners cannot get access to NIS. This is criminal. As long as somebody pays NIS, they have a right to access the service of NIS. That's a contract. You got so many lawyers in opposition, and you're quiet like church mouse. My question to you live on this broadcast, and I like where I came to Victory Valley. There's the right name. I came to ask you a question. What are you afraid of? Who is controlling your speech? Who caused you to be unable to talk? You cannot have a record that said that 217 or whatever thousand Guyanese voted for you. And the best you can offer them is a simple statement that says, we are not in favor of mandatory vaccination. We'll do something about it then. Exactly. Our people, who whenever they are paid, It is called PAYE, pay as you earn. Every Guyanese as they earn, they have to have NIS benefits made for them, or deductions made. Now if somebody want a pair of spectacles, they can't go into NIS compound to access their money. Because somewhere in this government, the system changed whereby government buildings have the right to even break what is a legal contract between the government and the society. And I'm asking again for those politicians who say that they're against this to come out and defend the cause of your people. There's no more hiding for y'all. Because if there is an oppression and there is a reaction, the reaction must be seen from those who claim to be representing those who are oppressed. And I don't see reaction from y'all in APNU. But actually talking PNC. I don't see reaction. Granger is the head of PNC. He's a former military man, a brigadier. And I don't see a reaction. And I am now in a place in my life where if I don't see you react, I believe you're part of the problem. There's no more hiding here. Our people are suffering. To be told that every 3 days you must find $25,000 to do a PCR test if you don't want to be vaccinated is a system called economic assassination. You want to destroy people financially. But we are not going to bend. And we're not going to break. And I have one more for you. I am not going to forget how political leaders reacted in this time of trouble. We should not be a people who are afraid to stand against oppression. On the 1st of August, in the month of August, Guyana celebrated the emancipation of slavery, where they say coffee led, listen to the language, coffee led a rebellion against slavery. If coffee led it, it means he was in front. You can't tell me you're against forced vaccination and your politicians at the back talking quietly. Come to the front of the class and show them that you're going to lead a rebellion against the wrong done to your people. But you can't do it because somebody who's a descendant of slave owners, some European woman, got y'all under control. Her name is Sarah Ann Lynch. Controlling y'all. Controlling you in your own country. That you can't talk. Because your people, the goodness, the well-being of your people is worth less than your visa. But a day is coming and I could see it approaching us quickly here. Let this 25th of August come quickly. Where you feel that people just roll over and leave the way you want to them. There's a day coming in this nation when you shall see that without political leadership, independent thinkers have arisen to say, not me, you're not doing this to me anymore. And let me make the record clear on Facebook. Let me make it clear to you right here. This time around, this time around, you're going to leave Georgetown and come and talk for yourself. Because they give you 2 weeks to get it right. Don't call me. If you call me, I come in on one condition. That you're going to remove this burden from my people. Anybody who lost their job, they'll be put back on the job, private or public sector. Let me lay the condition down for you now. Number 3, you are going to ensure that the person who had us in this hole, Frank Anthony, is not minister anymore. There is something called a day that comes upon humanity. When humanity will understand that your survival depends on your strength. That day is coming on the 25th or 26th of this month. As a people of strength and courage, please understand if you're Rastafarian. I see my brother John right here. For years they say they respect Rasta. If you don't want a child vaccinated, respect, going to school. This is the first time since I know Guyana to be independent that you have put your foot in the face of people based on their religion. I remember in the midst of COVID, when it was Pagwa, people ran all over the street throwing water to one another. I remember in March of 2021, Pagwa Day wasn't a problem. People all over the street throwing water to one another and carrying on. When Easter came, I don't believe in Easter either, but I'll tell you what it is. Suddenly on the radio station I was traveling and I heard that myself. If you go on the beach of Fire Kite, police will arrest you.
Yeah, it's true.
And Guyanese couldn't wake up to see that your religious rights were being taken from you by a people who hate you. You are not supposed to, according to the law of Guyana, you cannot prevent a man from practicing his religion.
That's right.
And if a Rasta man say that I don't believe in vaccination, that's his religion. You can't take away a man's right to believe. When you take away his right to believe, you make him property like a slave. But I know Rasta man. And I know that there's a tribe in Guyana who isn't afraid of y'all.
No time, no time. Never fear, never fear.
I have come on the bank of Wismar because of my brother Mr. Thomas. I was born here. And there's something about the courage of people born over here.
Yes.
I am born a chicken.
I born over here too, but for real, the rest of the place here, they're weak.
I was never wired to frighten people.
Yeah, I just over here born. It's only over here.
And I tell you all the time, if you got to send police, if you in Georgetown have to send a police to me because you can't come yourself, you're less than a man.
Yeah.
That's why I don't fight police. I want you come to my face.
Yes.
You leave your office, come to my face. And you do just what you send the police to do to me. That's how men function. Guyana, Linden, I am concerned because it seems as if the crop of young, strong men have gone.
Exactly.
It's as if we're now raising a society of jokers and wimps. Can you stand for your children? Can you stand for your future? Can you stand for your sister? Our society is in trouble because our men don't seem to understand what is at stake here. But I still have hope. I still believe that a day will come in this same month when you shall see a reaction from people because you tried to oppress us for too long. Our military officers should be the strongest in this nation. The soldiers are supposed to be the strongest in this nation. And I was saying all the time that someday the soldiers would wake up and say, you can't do this to us. Because we got the strength to stand at the border and protect this country. Well, if a vaccine and money make you roll over like that, don't show up at the border to fight anybody. Stay in Ghana, stay in Soweto, and eat chicken.
Yes.
Because you're too scared to stand for your own life.
Yeah.
If money could control the military, you are nothing more than slaves.
Yeah.
Our soldiers were supposed to lead the way in this country because you see the Constitution being disrespected. And let me make this clear to all of you who may be on Facebook talking like you're hearing good.
As usual.
The Constitution of this nation is called the supreme law.
Yes.
So if you make any order, it comes under the Constitution. It can't override the Constitution. So if the Constitution states that you can't force me to receive medical treatment, you can't make an order to force me to do it.
All right.
Because you are against the Constitution.
Yeah.
If the Constitution states that if an employer wants to test an employee, you must pay for it, you can't tell me Frank Anthony has to face consequences. You tell your rat, your cat, your parrot, or your dog that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Exactly.
You tell that to your son, if you have one.
Yeah.
Or to your drinking boy. You can't tell me the consequences as a big man.
Exactly.
I'm a grown man.
Yeah. Real.
Real deal.
There's no consequence in my book when it comes to my choice. There has to be a record in this land where the strength of our men is restored, where the courage is seen for what it is. I saw yesterday they sat at Movie Town. It looked like Movie Town. And they sat at this table. The Minister of Education was among the set. Shoulder to shoulder with no mask on.
All right.
To have lunch or whatever you all had. Y'all are in close proximity, yapping your mouth with one another. But when it comes to us, we are subjected, or you're trying to subject us, to your unfair, unjust, dehumanizing order. We resist it. We oppose it.
Yeah.
Because Guyana still got man left.
Yeah.
And we still have real women left.
Yeah.
We have mothers left.
Yeah.
At least let me talk for Linden. We have people left in this town who are still prepared to protect the well-being of our families at all cost. But we also have people in the town who understand that we have to deal with y'all differently, because you have the old strategy that won't work this time. And that's why I'm calling on all you in these different government agencies to stand for the right of your people. I can promise you that in certain parts of Guyana, people are allowed to pass through the door and get business done. But Linden, for some reason, y'all can't wake up and see in these offices that it's your own people you're oppressing when you do these things. How can you justify oppressing a mother who just had a baby and needs to access NIS? How can you justify? I know a grandmother, 70 plus years old, called me, almost in tears, saying that these doctors, every time she go to see them, she's sick. She's diabetic, extremely sick, with lung issues. And every time she go to the clinic, the first thing they tell her is, you got to take the vaccine, come on, come. And she keeps saying, I don't want this. And they force her to tell her that if you don't take it, we'll not take care of you anymore. That's what Guyana has come to. Where even our grandmothers are suffering at the hand of your tyrants. Thank you. But I am standing every day with every breath that I have in my lungs to let you all know that you will be opposed on a consistent basis, because we have to be strong enough when we recognize that people who are supposed to lead are afraid to lead. We have a chairman in the region who said that he's against mandatory vaccination. That's what he said. But I'm not seeing the chairman standing in front of officers to say that this is great inconvenience and oppress people.
You can't do that because it's been promoting the
Okay then.
vaccine.
So it's business as usual.
That's why we say
See that?
culture of the bridge.
So it's business as usual for y'all. That's the point the lady's making right here. You are opposed to something that you support.
Then you want to come on the bridge and score political points?
How you gonna do that? If you are against it, then stand against it.
Yeah.
I am against forcing people to do it. And for as long as persons are being forced to do it, I will stand against what you're doing. But I am seeing plainly here that persons in this society have to say the right thing. Because you can't stand up to people. Y'all are weak. And the sad thing in Linden is people could see your weakness. Y'all are weak. And we could see straight through you. That only because you name opposition, you're trying best to sound as if you're standing up for people. But Guyana, the day is upon us. Monday they said that every nurse in Georgetown, if they don't have the vaccine, will be locked out of the hospital. Well, I tell y'all, I can't wait for Monday come. Because nurses in Georgetown got a different psyche when it comes to certain things. The nurses in Georgetown are known to stand up to y'all very quickly. And their colleagues in Linden, I hope, will have the strength to say if you do it to them, we can stand too. Because this country can't move forward with people who are afraid to stand. My brothers and my sisters, this fight will not end with people allowing a few men to take away their rights and treat you as though you are less than a human being. This fight must end with those people recognizing that our lives are equal to our rights. You can't separate my right from my life. If you take away my human right, you've taken away my life. And I shall stand for the sake of my son. I have a 5-year-old boy. And as a father of a 5-year-old son, I felt like a man when my son told me last night, Daddy, you're doing a good job with this vaccine thing. He didn't even know what vaccine he's talking about. But he see that Daddy, and he's watching me on Facebook, and see Daddy outside talking. And a 5-year-old nursery school child is telling me, Daddy, you're doing a good job with this vaccine thing. Yes, Daddy. My body, my choice. That's why he's standing here too. Because my son would not have a record of a father who's a manager of a company oppressing his people. My son will know that if I drop dead today, his father stood for the right of human beings. What record you got? We must stand strong. We must stand with courage. And we must stand with the understanding that the people have the power. And the people must use the power to stand against oppression. My brothers and my sisters and those viewing on Facebook, our nation, like many other small nations as they call us small, are subjected to providing certain numbers before you consider acceptable in reference to this fight against COVID-19. They're saying to us that there's certain codes and levels they give to you based on how you treat with COVID-19. And if your country is at level 4, they advise tourists not to come. People mustn't do certain business with you because you're a health threat. So Guyana is fighting in this political level. They're fighting to try to get the world to accept that we're doing what they want. And that is coming on the back of our people. This is not a fight against COVID from this government. It's a fight to be accepted by people above them. We are not going to stand for this. We're not going to be bullied into accepting anything. We're not going to allow our children to be subjects of an experiment, as Mr. Thomas said. Understand what they're saying to you
even about your children. They're saying that when they did a study across the world and in the US, from 12-year-old to 17-year-old, that the viruses hardly affect them. They get it and they may get a little fever and they're fine. That's what these people said, you know. Now, if you could see among a certain population of young people, the virus isn't bothering them, why you want to vaccinate them so easily? Why? They're the strongest in the whole population. And you're doing everything in your power to put vaccines or injections, not vaccines, in their body. And I'll tell you the next thing that some of you already know yet. They already said on the CDC website, on the FDA website, and the World Health Organization, they said that they're now studying from baby to 12. They're giving it to you one after the other. Because whenever you roll over and accept one, they put it on the next set, and the next set. Now you may want to argue, don't our children get measles, mumps, rubella vaccine? Some children do. But those vaccines, those are vaccines. When someone gets a measles shot, for their whole lifetime, their body knows how to fight it off. When they get a mumps shot, I got a shot. I never got mumps again. Those vaccines have been proven to be safe in the long term. 35, 40, 50 years of history. How much history we got to these injections again, y'all? 6 months. And they're saying, Bill Gates said, he ain't sure how it will work. Do you hear me? Truck is passing. Let me leave you with this information. Bill Gates has said that when the vaccines are being, when they call it vaccines, when these shots and drugs were being tested and developed, he said that they're not sure if it will work to stop the infection or to stop death. While he's saying that, they're producing billions of doses to distribute around the world. And he's saying they're sure how it will work. So they're not sure how it will work. Is it not an experiment? Yes. When they give you a measles shot, they know it will work. It will prevent measles. If they give you a tetanus shot, they know it will work. It will prevent tetanus. But those who developed the vaccine said they're not sure how it will work. But they already produced billions of doses of it. And it has to be distributed across the world while they are collecting record of its effectiveness. That's called an emergency use authorized drug. While they collect information, they still have it produced by the billions. Are you aware, as I leave you, Victory Valley, that every dose of a vaccine has a cost?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. All of you know that, right? Good. So money involved in this then. Are you aware? All right then. Are you aware that this government spent millions of dollars to get vaccines here? Yes.
That is why they're sending you to the different places that they appoint.
There you go.
Take the COVID test.
There you go.
Pay X amount of money.
Money must be made.
That money.
Money must be made.
Yes. That is why they're doing that. They find
Thank you so much. Money must be made.
It's a recovery process.
And money will be made at all cost.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is this.
Go get your passport.
That the same people who say that the treasury was empty. Remember that? Y'all said that Granger emptied the treasury. So we got all this money from so suddenly. Where it come from? If the treasury was empty, how you finding money all the time? Where it coming from? Guyana is the first country in the world that has an empty treasury that could dish out $365+ million to Gaisuko to buy tractor and excavator in the midst of COVID. You can't give Guyanese money easily, but Gaisuko could get money when they're not producing sugar on a large scale. You have an empty treasury, but you could find billions of dollars for because we care. Where the money coming from? You people in government can't even lie with sense. And I must trust y'all. And I must trust you. You can't even lie with common sense. Why must Guyanese believe y'all? An empty treasury can't produce all this money overnight. So where the money coming from then? Because you care? Well, because we care about ourselves, we shall stand for ourselves. It's our body. It's our bodies. No mandatory. No mandatory. You ain't bullying me. With that, I thank you all in Victory Valley. Thank John B. We shall continue to stand across this nation. I'm going to drive around the town at some point to see what's happening in my town. Because I love Linden. And I believe that there's hope for the people of Linden to be stronger every day. I thank Mr. Thomas for coming out as a man and standing as a man who understands leadership. To all of you other preachers who are afraid to do this because you have to tell your congregation to take a vaccine, you are nothing but chickens. And nobody must respect you for being so weak. Because you can see before us a system designed to force people by the masses to do what they're told. That is an anti-Christ system. It's an anti-Messiah system. It's a system designed for world obedience. And you're a part of it. All y'all who get up in pulpit and talk about you're ready to put your life on the line, put it now. Now is the time to test, because your life may be certain and you're still scared. But I heard as I'm in the valley, and I've read as I'm in the valley, that yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Why? Thank you very much. If Yahweh is with me, how can I fear a chicken on the other side of this broadcast? You must be mad or what? You sit in your office. You sit in your air-conditioned office. You got to send people to talk to me? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. None.
No evil.
His rod and his staff, they comfort me. I don't scare chickens like y'all.
We cook chickens.
Thank you very much.
Bury them.
Thank you. And you might want to say, well, be careful because you're going to suffer. I still read in the book that said, I was young and I became old and I've never seen a righteous man forsaken or a seed begging for bread. You can't make me beg if I stand for righteousness. Bad man gotta beg. Weak man gotta beg. Jellyback man gotta beg. Fish gotta beg. Y'all hen? Your soft chicken self. You gotta beg. Righteous man can never beg.
No, we don't beg.
Never beg.
We not beg.
The ground on which I live will never refuse to produce food for me because I'm a righteous man. I could feed myself. Or I could find a brother. I could find my brother over there or somebody say, hey, what you got? We got callaloo, we got. You got okra, what you got? We shall survive because our ground will not reject us. But y'all, life will poison you. Because your mind is evil.
You shall slay the wicked.
So don't tell me I have to be afraid of anybody. What you could do to me?
Never fear.
What shall I fear? What? Though 1,000 may fall at my side and 10,000 at my right hand, evil can't come near me.
No.
With my eyes shall I behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Huh.
Yeah.
The wicked.
There's not time for you to be afraid of anybody.
Yeah.
There's a righteous cause. There's a just cause. And I tell you all again, bad mind is kill.
Yes.
Dirty mind is kill.
Yes.
Got a rat mind, you're gonna dead.
Trench crop auto.
Because your mind bad. You're going to suffer. Guyanese can't stand for themselves. Guyanese can't own land. You think it's some handout you're giving the people? That's how high a might you think you are?
You get a piece of house lot they give you, you can't go and possess them.
And yes, and look at the size of your house lot compared to other people. You are an elitist. You feel that you're better than everybody else. But Lord, I feel strength this morning. We shall resist.
Yes.
Because we built to win. We weren't made to be defeated. We made to win. I thank you all again. And let us see what becomes in the next few days. Because Guyana, all Guyanese, open your eyes to see that your enemy is not your neighbor. Your enemies are different. Your enemies are in offices driving vehicles that your money buy. And making rules about you for you to suffer while they live large.
But they don't know it can be taken away too.
But the people of Guyana, the people of this nation, the people of this nation got the strength in our backs. Because history shows us that we would not be defeated. We are not going to be defeated. Our body, our bodies, our bodies, no mandatory, no mandatory.